What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with a little bit of Overwatch, and today we're going to be talking about the newest patch for Overwatch, patch 1.5.0.2, which came out yesterday, November 15th. And I wanted to play around with the game a little bit before I jumped into it and talked about the patch, but this patch brought a lot of interesting changes to Overwatch. It gave it a little bit of an overhaul, which I felt it needed, especially in certain areas. And we're going to get into that in just a second. Now, the biggest thing with this patch, of course, is it brought the new hero, Sombra, who's a new offensive character, though she seems to be a little bit more in line with a support character with some of her abilities. But she can hack enemies and block abilities and cloak and teleport. And she has kind of an interesting kit. I did play around with her a little bit last night, found her to be kind of so-so. She seems like a character that's definitely, like the other characters, going to take a long time to figure out how to use her and what to do. And I saw a lot of hate on the Battlenet forums about how she's actually not that good. But I guarantee you, once people figure out how to use her, she seems like she's going to be a little bit of a difference maker. But everybody can relax. Sombra did not come out and break the game, which is something I give Blizzard a little bit of credit for. With Overwatch, they seem to do a pretty good job balancing most of the characters. Now, when you're a newer player, obviously some of the characters are going to seem overpowered, especially when you're playing against people that are good with them. But by and large, most of the characters in Overwatch are pretty well balanced. But despite this, they did make a few changes to some of the characters, which we will talk about in just a little bit. Now, they did bring out the arcade, which I think was a much needed change for Overwatch. Now they've got all kinds of different game modes you can play. There's 1 versus 1, 3 versus 3. You can play the brawls. They have all kinds of rule sets, like you can play 6v6 with random heroes that it just picks for you. And this was really a great feature. The other cool thing, too, is now you can earn loot boxes during the week instead of having to level up and get one every level. You can actually earn up to 3. I think you have to win 9 matches. Every 3 matches you win in the arcade, you get a loot box. You can also get a loot box for playing certain playlists, which is pretty cool because I like the loot box system in Overwatch. It's kind of nice that they give it to you for free, but it was kind of limited because it seems to me it takes forever to level up in this game. I've been playing for a while. I'm still only in the 30s, and it just does not seem that you earn XP very quickly. So it's nice that they actually put in that feature so people that don't want to have to pay for it can actually earn a few more loot boxes every week. And it's just nice to have the game a little bit more rewarding to play. And it definitely needed this change, definitely needed this overhaul, because quite honestly, I've only been playing Overwatch for about 3 weeks and was starting to find the game modes a little stagnant. They also brought in a new map, Echo Point Antarctica, and I've played there a few times, and it seems like a pretty decent map. Most of the maps in Overwatch are pretty good. Not really too many comments on that, but it's a very small map, and played a lot of 3v3 on it last night, and it seems to be a pretty decent map. Now, one other announcement they did make with this patch is, of course, Season 3 of competitive play is coming. Season 2, the current season, is going to end on November 23rd at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And the third season is going to start on November 30th, I believe, at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. There's a week-long off-season, and you can still play competitive during that time, but it's not going to affect your skill rating. And they did say they are making some adjustments to the skill rating system, and players are going to be distributed more broadly across the skill tiers, which means your Season 3 rating will probably start off lower than the previous season. I'm going to do a separate video on competitive play. Actually, I have 2 videos coming up on that. I have my video where I placed into Season 2, and then I'm going to do a Season 2 review next week on the last day or the day before, and just talk about my overall feelings on competitive play. So I have a lot of just comments about it. I don't feel like, especially if you're in solo queue, that you get rewarded quite as well for playing well that you should, and I think the rating system needs to be changed, and I don't know what they're going to be doing for Season 3, but I don't know. They need to definitely do something for the skill ranking, in my opinion, especially for solo players, because it feels like you're kind of screwed. Sometimes when you get stuck with bad teammates, there's really not much you can do, even when you play really good. Even when you're playing well, it seems like your rating is just dependent on the 5 other people you get on your team. And in my case, I usually wind up with every other game is a bunch of idiots who don't really know what they're doing, and then I play very well and still lose a ton of rank points. So I have a separate video I'm going to do on that to give my thoughts on it, but we'll see what's going on. So there's some general updates with this patch. They added PlayStation 4 Pro support, made some data improvements to decrease load times in the menus and other things. They've made adjustments to the way the experience system works. You'll hopefully level more quickly now. They reduced the amount of experience you need for levels 14 through 100, and it's going to be, after level 100, you'll now need 20,000 XP per level. And they said the problem was that players were moving through the first couple, first 20 levels quickly, and then it was taking a while to go after that. So I agree with that. It seems, like I said, it's been taking me a long time to level up, even though I've been playing this game non-stop since I bought it. It's probably my favorite game right now. I've been playing it every night just about. And yeah, need some more XP. So then finally we get into some hero balance changes, and these are probably the things everybody's interested in. These are the things people are really complaining about on the forums, and we'll get into that a little bit here. They have changed some general changes, dealing damage to things other than players, like if you destroy turrets, or Widow's little poison mine, or Symmetra's teleporter, that no longer counts to charge your ultimate ability, which is interesting. And ultimate costs have been increased by 25%, pretty much across the board for all heroes, so you're not going to see people popping as many ults. I don't think this is necessarily a bad change. One thing I noticed in competitive is it seems like people just pop their ults every 3 minutes. It's crazy. It seems like a bit of an alt fest sometimes, and it would be nice to not have to deal with those massive game-changing abilities all the time. It's in a way to me like Destiny, where you get on a bad run in the game and you die to a super, and then you respawn and you come out and you die to a super, and it gets really annoying. But ults for the most part I don't have a huge problem with, but I think having a reduced or an increased timer on them, I think, is actually going to make the game a little bit more enjoyable for myself, at least. I don't know, some people may not like that. Now, getting into some actual hero specific changes they made. They've made some changes to Ana, Ana is the medical sniper. Her sniper rifle can heal people as well as kill them. And her ultimate ability is Nano Boost, which makes people really supercharged, more damage, and lets them move faster. They have removed the component from it that actually increases movement speed. Their comments on that were the increased speed from her Nano Boost made the ability feel unstoppable and forced Ana players to select targets that could really take advantage of the speed boost. Removing the speed boost means that Ana has a reason to apply Nano Boost to a larger variety of heroes, and enemies can fend off the attack more easily. Not sure if I agree with this. I do like Ana. She's one of my favorite players. Ana, however you say it. And I don't know. I'm pretty liberal with my Nano Boost, although I know there's players or different characters you want to use it on versus other ones, and that's just really your typical strategy game, honestly. There's always going to be abilities that work better using them on certain characters. It's been that way with pretty much every MOBA and RPG game as far back as I can remember. When you have an ability that buffs players and buffs their skill sets, you're going to have players that take advantage and characters that take advantage of that more than others. So kind of annoying they took that out, but I don't know. I don't play her enough to really worry about it too much, especially in competitive. So not really a crazy big change, but some people are pretty upset about that. Now with D.Va, they changed her call mech ultimate cost. It's been decreased by 20%, so if you pop self-destruct or get popped out of your mech, you can get it back a little bit more quickly. I do play D.Va quite a bit, and I did notice this last night when I played her. Definitely you can get that mech back a lot faster just doing a little bit of damage and staying alive for a little bit after you pop out of the mech. They increased the health of the mech to 200. It used to be 100. The armor is still 400, so she has 600 total. Makes her a little bit more tanky. And her movement speed while firing has been increased by 25%. So this is pretty much a little bit of a buff to D.Va, and as someone who plays her quite a bit, I did notice it just a little bit. She seems to be a lot more tanky now, and she still has a massive hitbox, so it's, if you're not playing her right, you will get completely melted. But I felt like it was a good change for her, and I'm able to survive quite a bit longer, and D.Va just feels like a good character for me. I like to play her. She's very enjoyable to play, and it helps her withstand attacks a little bit better. It's not a huge noticeable change, but you'll definitely feel it. Now moving on, they did make some changes to Lucio, who is one of the healer classes. They took his Amp It Up ability and dropped the healing per second by 10%. Their comment on this was his overall healing has always been on par with the other healers, but his benefits made him an almost mandatory pick in playlists. Now first off, a lot of people are getting upset about this change, but honestly his healing per second went from 12 to 10. It's not a massive change. And even after this change, I played last night. Lucio is actually my most played in competitive because no one wants to heal, so most of the time I wind up picking a healer. And for me, Lucio is the easiest healer to use because of the way people scatter around the map. It's just easier to get to people with him. And, you know, I don't know how you Mercy mains do it. It would drive me insane. You come out and imagine everybody just spreads out. You know, I know that's mostly in solo queue, but I don't know how you guys do it. But Lucio makes it easier for me because it's easier to get around to people. And I still was able to, one match I played with him last night, I had over 20,000 heals. So this doesn't make a massive difference, but their comment on it was what kind of got me, where they're saying is, you know, it makes him an almost mandatory pick. Well, that's, maybe you should look at the other healers and figure out how you can make them better, because this to me sounded a little bit almost like Bungie's logic of, oh, too many people are using him, so we need to nerf him to make people use other characters. But like I said, it's kind of an interesting nerf because it didn't really do much. Like I said, it only drops your healing from like 12 per second to 10 per second, so not a huge deal. And Lucio is still a very good healer. Now with Mei, they made some changes to her Blizzard ultimate. The cost has been increased by 15%, so it takes a little bit longer to get her ult. And basically they said people were getting her ult way too quickly. I don't know if this was a problem. My problem with Mei has been that her secondary fire, that little icicle spike she fires, it just seems to have a massive hitbox, and she can use that like a damn sniper. Mei to me is the most frustrating character to come across in Overwatch because you just feel so freaking helpless when she charges into your spawn and starts freezing everybody, and it seems like you can't kill her quick enough, and then all of a sudden you're stuck, and then she just sits there and puts an icicle between your eyes. And even from a distance, she can use that secondary, that icicle spike fire, and it seems to be a little too good. But I'm just probably salty because I seem to get killed by her quite a bit, and it just really annoys me. I know she's not overpowered, but she's just a very annoying player to play against sometimes, especially with somebody who's good with her. So that's my comments on Mei. Now Mercy also got some changes. She got a passive health regeneration, which now activates when she avoids taking damage for 1 second versus 3 seconds, and they said this will allow her to survive more easily by evading enemy fire. I don't know. I played Mercy a few times, and I don't like using her in competitive or quick play because it seems like it's hard to stay with people who just run around everywhere, and then they start complaining they're not getting healed. It's like, well, if you weren't running halfway across the map, you get healed. So I don't play Mercy much, so if any of you guys play Mercy, let me know what you think about those changes. And then we get to some of the damage characters. Pharah has her rocket launcher, a few changes. Her minimum explosion damage has been increased by 13%. So explosions are going to do a little bit more damage. Now, they did remove the knockback completely from her rockets. They also increased the lift on her jump jets by 35%. They say the changes make the explosions from her rocket launcher more deadly. Hitting multiple targets should feel better. Her jump jets are also getting a boost to increase maneuverability while you are hovering. I kind of have mixed feelings on Pharah. I love her character design. I love her armor. She reminds me a lot of Samus from Metroid, just the way her armor is designed. I think she's a really fun concept, but I don't like playing with her. I think her ultimate, number one, needs a little bit of work. I think her ultimate makes her just a sitting brick. It's really hard to use it and be good with it. The knockback damage, or the knockback in general from her rockets, is actually kind of a neat utility to use, and a lot of players like that, and I know a lot of people are upset that that got removed. I played with Pharah a little bit last night. I didn't notice a massive difference in her being any more effective with the changes they made to her. Felt like almost like a slight nerf without having the knockback from the rockets. But I have mixed feelings on Pharah. I need to get better with her. Even though my stats on Overwatch say I'm a pretty good player with her, I just don't feel like it. Every time I play with her, I feel like the team is playing 6 on 5 versus 6 because I just don't feel like she's super effective at dealing consistent damage. And I don't like her ultimate whatsoever because it's very situational. It's a really cool ultimate. She fires all these rockets, but the minute you activate that, it's like the entire other team is just like, oh, deadlock on you, and you're dead in like 3 seconds. So I think her ultimate needs a little bit of work. And maybe her health needs tweaked so she's got 100 health, 100 armor. I don't know. I think Pharah needs to be looked at a little bit more than just taking away her rocket knockback. But you Pharah players may agree or disagree. Feel free to let me know. Now we get to actually one of my main heroes that I play, Soldier 76. Now they made some changes to his pulse rifle. They increased the bullet damage from 17 damage to 20 damage, and his bullet spread from 2.2 to 2.4. They said his damage felt a little bit low when compared to other heroes. The increase will affect his normal fire and his ultimate. I got to be 100% honest on this. I play a ton of 76. I love Soldier 76. They say he's a good character to come in if you've been playing other FPS games. But I just find him to be very good, especially for me in solo queue, because he's self-sufficient. I can heal myself. I have a pretty good damage dealing ability. I love his rockets. And I also figured out recently how to kind of change my aim a little bit, and I turned off mouse acceleration and found the right, crosshair to use. My sensitivity's in a good spot. And I've really started to play really, really good with Soldier 76. And I played him last night, and this damage change, this damage buff for him, he just absolutely melts people for me now, especially when I get a lot of critical hits. I mean, I was taking down D.Va in less than a full clip, just pumping headshots into her, critical hits into her. And I'll be honest, he felt a little overpowered to me, but that may be just me being a new player, but I felt really good. I had one of my best games ever the other night. I actually had I had 40 eliminations in a quick play game, which for me was my highest yet. Did a ton of damage. I've been getting a lot of goals and damage for him now, and just seems like this change made him really, really good, at least for me. Other people may feel differently. I thought Soldier was a pretty good character to begin with, and I think giving him a lot more damage, I don't know. It's an interesting buff to be sure, but it made him feel really powerful when I used him last night. Now, Torbjorn got a few changes as well. His scrap is now going to be automatically generated over time. They've decreased the amount you collect from a fallen enemy by 40%. His hammer speed was increased by 25%, but the damage was dropped by 27%. And the developer comments on this were, armor packs have always been a powerful tool in his arsenal, but it was often difficult to get enough scrap to give your team a legitimate boost when they needed it. That's definitely a complaint I had about using him. They also said if a team held on long enough, the scrap collected from fallen enemies was able to generate so many armor packs that enemy teams had a difficult time turning the tide. I've also been on this end of things, so I can understand that too. Automatically generating scrap over time will help smooth out differences and make him more of a viable character. His hammer swing speed increase will help him construct level 2 turrets more quickly. So that's the comments on Torbjorn. I don't play him that often, so not really any commentary from me on that. Widowmaker, they changed her venom mine so the explosion will no longer damage the player who placed the mine, which, I don't know, that's kind of the risk reward, of using abilities like that. You can kill yourself. That's, Farrah can damage herself with a rocket, so why shouldn't Widow's mine damage her if she sets it off too close to her, I don't really understand that change. And Widow's KS charge rate was increased by 20%, and they say this allows Widow to be more flexible and reactive. Okay. I tend to stay away from her in anything besides play versus AI and quick play, because I don't really feel the maps in Overwatch are that good for snipers. I know there's people that play Widow and are really great with her, but I feel the pace of the game and the maps themselves don't lend themselves well to snipers, so I tend to stay away from them. Then you have Zarya. She's the last player they made some changes to. The power she gains from her barriers has been decreased by 20%, and the power she gains from projecting her barrier decreased by 20%. And they said, considering her damage output potential, she was starting to feel like a mandatory pick in most situations for tanking, and rather than reducing her damage output, they made achieving her maximum power level more difficult. Yeah, it does seem like Zarya is used quite a bit, and so is Reinhardt. Those are probably the two tanks you see people using. Winston's kind of situational. Roadhog's a pretty good tank, and so is D.Va, but you definitely see a lot of Zarya, mainly for her damage that she can put out, and Reinhardt, of course, for his shield. But I don't like it when they make changes just to make people pick a different character, but overall this doesn't seem like a massive change. I don't play much Zarya. If you guys do and you don't like this, tell me why down below. Feel free to comment. And that's pretty much the main changes for this new patch. It's overall been a pretty good patch, I think. There's some other little minor things that they fixed in terms of bugs. And I'll post the patch notes down below so you guys can go to Battlenet and check them out. But overall, that's pretty much what they did. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little video about Overwatch here. Feel free to comment down below. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you again next time.